Hey everyone, excuse me if I sound a bit off today. I have a stomach flu, and I must say, well, it's way better than having had a cold, and I still feel rather horrible. Today I'm gonna do something a little different. Probably won't see many of these reply videos on my channel, it's not really my style. But this issue really pertains to gaming so much that I felt it was worth commenting on. Now, I'll leave the original video of Raging Gold Eagle down in the comments below. Check it out, he has some great opinions. Now, I understand his position, and it's a good position too. Don't get me wrong. Before all the convergence effects, I used to look at female characters like, wow, this will be a unique and exciting perspective different from the usual dude bro pro tags. Now I find myself rolling my eyes wondering what SJW bullshit we're going to be subjected to in this new game, or what brownie points are they trying to score. I know it's not a healthy mentality, but it is a rational one. This isn't to say I write off every female protagonist. Hell, I was laughing about those claiming they were replacing War and Darksiders 3, because if you played 1 and 2, you knew Fury or Wrath was next, and it was most likely going to be Fury. Yet as I laughed off, the developers decided to, up the wokeness, and it turned out that, joke was on me. So, I agree we can't just write off a title because that's a female character. But at the same time, we can't also, on hand, just dismiss the concern either. Since for every one good female character, or returning character, there's about 1 or 2 woke characters as well. Simply put, judge based on the game and its merits, not just some knee-jerk reaction. Unless, of course, it's a pink-haired Tumblr right on the cover, then, knee-jerk reaction, the hell all that shit. Now, where I agree on raging with that somewhat, I must completely disagree with him regarding ignoring it if it doesn't impact my immediate experience. I like to think I'm a hopeless forward thinker. I try to nip problems in the arse before they become, problems. Or significant problems. After all, why wait for your whole house to be engulfed in flames before attempting to deal with a trash bin fire? Yeah, right now it's ignorable, but there are 2 things to consider. First is that while it is ignorable now, it is because behind the scenes there are some talented people with a lot of passion fighting to make a good game, or anime or manga for that matter. What you won't hear is how these people are slowly and methodically being purged from the companies. That's not an insane conspiracy either. That's proven to be happening at Ubisoft and Arcane Studios right now, just to name 2 examples. There are several other studios right now that are experiencing very similar efforts with new guidelines. It's messed up. Permitting these people in the door essentially permits them to spread their influence, and it is an inherent nature to live and let live, that much I can agree with. But when someone is acting as a belligerent, and make no mistake, they'll claim they are not trying to take your video away, and then they'll go out of the way to boast about how proud they were for having ruined it after they get fired or they leave. You want some examples? Look at SCP. The SJWs came in and were contributing. Their stupidity was ignorable, so many did. And then they drove out the old guard, and when they felt they had significant power, they proclaimed that it was their intention from the start to converge the entire community. The only way to stop them is to make the ideal so unprofitable that companies outright refuse to permit any of it in their products. To do that, you have to vote with your wallets, though I may be getting ahead of myself, as that's the same solution to my next critique, which is it begins small and then grows to rather obscene levels. It reminds me of microtransactions, which I'm guilty of shirking off and saying, well, it doesn't impact me since I don't buy games with it, so let them screw themselves. Then EA started adding it to single-player games, but it failed. We laughed. It was a good time. And now it's not common, but it's also less than uncommon. Now that it is actually impacting people's lives, now they care about microtransactions. Same with loot boxes. They started small, and now companies are relying on gambling addiction to remain profitable. And because we know SJWs won't stop trying to converge anything they're part of, being the NPC viruses they are, we can't just presume anymore that it will just stop at where it's at. Look at Sony's anti-male gaze policies that are now censoring products in Japan because of SJWs in America. We've got ComicGate, where they converge the major companies and use terrorism to stop independent publishings, harassing people like diversity in comics getting his deal with a publisher pulled. Then Vox Days comes in, weighs in, and every NPC, be they outright SJWs or infiltrators, start repeating the same lines of dialogue. Really lazy writing, I gotta tell you. It was funny. Arguing with one of them in a place that you didn't have control over. They had to step back on every talking point because it was absurd. But right there, you could spot the infiltration already beginning because, as always, they had to immediately get beyond the talking points. It shows one thing, and that is there is no wiggle room when dealing with these people. They will continue to push and push, and it will just be a slippery slope right into the state where it can't be ignored, and then you're just going to have to fight them to push them out of your hobby. Yet the easiest solution is to simply not buy products that are pushing these elements. To the point, to point out what the same thing Raging Golden Eagle said, it's a buyer's market. There are endless amounts of alternatives right now that you can enjoy. And unless it's something like Red Dead Redemption, where it's not going to matter what you do one way or the other, which, take note, the game's not woke, but they're saying some questionable stuff right now. But unless it's a game like that, your vote matters when you spend with your wallet. Hell, I like to point out Rockstar isn't even untouchable. Max Payne 3 underperformed so hard that Take-Two had to make a statement to the investors that they would never try to sell a new game by slapping a nostalgic name on it again. And I can say from experience that games with a political axe to grind, or anything really, typically aren't enjoyable anyway. It really seems the ideologues don't spend much time honing or improving their skills, and since most of our passions involve a level of creativity, they can't really produce really creative products either. And that's something you really need in this industry, is creativity. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace out.